You're tuned into the show
that informs, improves, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Race Report. And now, here are your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges and Glenn Lippy Tower. It is Winning Wednesday right here on the Northwest Race Report. And do racers rule? Racing rules. Racing and technology, there is still some old school, and always will be. And cheap exposure. Networking. It's not as hard as you think. Lippy goes lapping and lets you know a few more things on chassis buying. And we've got 4 pretty cool tech tips for you. And we're going to talk about the upcoming season opener at Salem Speedway. Blue Line Graphics is bringing in 2 versatile and up-and-coming superstars to talk to us. 90 minutes of fun, inspiring, and positive bench racing with the show that is working to make a difference. Tonight's Northwest Race Report brought to you in part by Blue Line Graphics, Wicked Fabrication, O'Hagan's Carts and Supplies, South Bay Automotive, Creative Ink and Design, and Scott Seal Coat. Informing, improving, and inspiring racers everywhere. The Northwest Race Report, Wednesday nights, 6:30, exclusively at terrybridges.com. And now, back to your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges, Glenn Tower, and Jeff Eden.
Hey fans, this is ES7, Eric Stansbury here, and you're listening to the Northwest Race Report.
All right, well, good evening, racers. What is going on? It is another, let's see, first of all, we got to see who is P1. No way! Guess who it is? Scott Keeney is P1. Dan Watkins in the second spot. Scott Warning, the Mid-Ohio Valley UAS administrator, is third. Let's see, Rossmeyer fourth, Sean Carr fifth, and Joe Stackman, the Iron Man, the 4-3 in the house. Now, there's a driver right there. You ever seen the Iron Man run?
I have, yes, sir.
I watched, just a quick story. I watched him win 5, I think it was Yamaha Heavy. It was on his Legend, and he won 5 in a row. And, and that was back when Yamaha Heavy was pretty stacked. I mean, And, boy, he was awesome. He was awesome. So, Matt Strebe in the house, all back from Trophy Cup and everything. Some guys get all the luck, Well, how do you be a nomad, not have a job, and get to go to all these races? I don't get it. But Dan Watkins in the house. But we got a great show for you tonight. We're going to get into some good stuff. I've seen it on Facebook. I we just need to touch on it. But I do also want to say I'm really looking forward to talking to a couple of these young superstars coming up, because that is the future of our sport. We got none other than DW3, Daniel Watkins III, and Hunter Stanley. Probably a name you might not know unless you live in the Boise area. This kid's good. And not only can he get it done on 4 wheels, he can get it done on 2. And he can get it done on big wheels and little wheels. He's driving a micro. This kid's good. He's solid. So, looking forward to talking to Hunter. That'll be about 7:15-ish, 7:10-ish. But, so yeah. Hey, man, back for another week in the house is the double M himself, Mad Mike Michelson. What's going on, buddy?
Since Lippy's not here yet, I've been waiting to say it's all good in the hood. Because I love that.
Isn't it? But why does he call it hood?
I don't know.
Is it because I'm a black host? Is that why he has to say hood?
I don't know how his neighborhood is or what, but
it is kind of the hood. I think where he's at, he might be a minority.
Really?
No, I don't know. But it's pretty scary. He said some of the stories he's told me from, it would blow your mind. It would just absolutely blow your mind. So, but other than that, hey, how's the week been?
It's been good, man. It's hard because when when racing's coming up in the weekend, everybody's just jonesing so bad. We got all the carts done last weekend, so just load them up and show up, man, and go race. Everybody I know everybody's super pumped, so it's going to be a great weekend.
I think so. It's and 2 days even.
It is a 2-day deal.
What a way to have a season. Joe Ransom. You know Joe Ransom?
I've heard of Joe Ransom.
Joe Ransom is BLG,
Ransom.
basically North, and he's also a K&N West crew chief for,
cool.
Is it Jesse Awuji, the black guy that runs there? And so they've been busy on the road all year. So thanks for tuning in, Joe Ransom. Right on. He's a heck of a guy, and he's very good with the vinyl too. So,
Good deal. See, Jason showed up. Said he's been scrambling.
Oh! Is that what that means, Sean? Hood is short for neighborhood. Okay, I didn't know that. How would I know?
That's not where my mind goes, but I guess that makes sense.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, but it should be really fun. It's just going to be awesome. I mean, you got Heavy going to be, or Yamaha going to be there. The Yamaha. So, and they always put on a well of a show. Passanante going to be there. Markham. That class is loaded when you stop and think about
absolutely.
it. But while we have another quick minute before we get into our results, I want to welcome and just let them know how appreciative I am of them. We have, as part of bringing on the show and helping the show out, as one of our show sponsors, is True Tech Automotive. And they're down in the Vancouver, Hazeldale area. And for all your auto repair and maintenance needs, they are the place you need to go. So, people, I'm just telling you, they help out the show. You need to go and be sure you support them. They're going to take good care of you anyway because you're a racer. But we just need to support those that support us and keep all this in the family, right? They serve all over the Vancouver and Greater Portland area. They're family-owned and operated, and they focus on good old quality and honest auto repair and service.
Yep, they're right on Highway 99 in Hazeldale. So awesome family. Don't hesitate to take your stuff there if you need it.
Yeah, they've been there since 2008, and they're at 6900 Northeast 99 in Hazeldale. So they'll take good care of you. Mike and Heather Clark are great people. But I'm sure their business is no different. But I just want to make it clear, man, please try to support those sponsors that are help supporting the show, right? I mean, no, it's not a gob, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I mean, I want you guys to get taken care of too. So, any deals they may pass along, you're going to get them. But please try to support those great people. True Tech Automotive, Hazeldale. I just didn't have quite enough time today to get my ad all squared away, so I thought I would do it this way. But you can't go wrong that way at all. So thank you, Mike and Heather. And they've got a heck of a wheel too. Two of them actually, young Mikey and Becca. It was going to be pretty tough. So hey, what do you say there's not much in the way of results, but we can kind of mess around and see what happens there. What do you think? You want to do it?
Let's do it because we're not going to have much time, and pretty soon here in a couple weeks we're going to have lots of results.
That's for sure. Yeah, and I just gave you the sponsor of this Winning Wednesday. Our results, that's True Tech Automotive, Hazeldale. Be sure you check them out and give them some business. Not much going on. Really, the one that I do know of, and I'm sure there was several, but Lodi, UAS were down there. Do you know how many UAS guys were there? Two.
Yeah, I heard
it was
that.
Diotti and Chase. And, so the Hitman was down there testing out his new space machine.
Right.
And with all the new snow carbon fiber on it. And he also had his PK250 Swede Tech massaged.
Oh.
And he said, what?
Watch out.
Yep. So good stuff there. But what they did, here's how it went down. So there was only two of them. So they played rock, paper, scissors. Right? Well, Diotti goes with the rock, and he wins it. So he starts on the inside for the heat race. And then the deal was whoever did that, the main event, the other guy would start. So he wins the heat, and Chase wins the main. But he said the cool thing was normally that big monster that Chase has got, that 450, He said it would just pull. He says now not so much. So
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary to think the Hitman would find some more speed.
How big's that track? Do you know?
It's pretty big, dude. Yeah, it's really big. It's like I went down with Ronnie when Ronnie won his first time down there. We drove 24 hours straight to get there, but he drove Chase's ride down there.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was like July. It was right after July. It was like July 24th or something. We did that, but because he didn't win that, he was trying to get a regional point win. So yeah, it's big, fast. The backstretch kind of, it almost seems like it kind of comes downhill. I mean, it's not a super downhill, but I mean,
that's awesome.
It's big and it's sweeping and it's fast, and I'm just saying, the Hitman getting quicker. That's what? Look out! And by the way, also, Salem Speedway is lucky enough, they picked him up. DRI, Diotti Racing Innovations, is now a BK9 sponsor.
That's awesome. That's
He's
cool.
putting
That's
up some
getting
dough.
So big.
$200 to that's going to go to first, second, and third. 125, 50, and then
cool
25. But here's the deal, and here's another chance for you folks. I'm getting you deals. If you win and you're in victory lane and you got a Diotti Racing Innovations hat or T-shirt, he's putting up another $100.
Wow!
If you got it on,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool. Man, BK9 is going to be
insane. It's going to be huge. And so be sure you go to DiottiRacingInnovations.com and check it out. Use the discount code NWRR20, and you will get 20% off anything you buy. So that's a good deal. And so you'll want to definitely, if you're going to be running UAS, you're definitely going to want to get some DRI swag. That's so you can potentially get in there. Good to have contingency stuff. I think they should have a contingency thing anyway. Like a package of stickers the UAS guys have with the different shops, and then have them give. It's just a cool thing. So other than that, I didn't really. There's going to be some stuff coming from Red Bluff. I'm in the process of trying to get them to send me their results. So, but that hasn't happened yet. But hang tight, Cage Carters. It's coming. I promise. We're going to cover it good. So, before, let's see what time we got a little bit. Before, let's talk a little bit about Salem, right? Coming up, big weekend, 2 days. Some things you need to know, folks, and take heed. Friday night, practice night, going to go from 6 until 9, and it's 30 bones. So you're definitely going to want to come get some time on, I'm sure. On Saturday, gates open at 8, and registration is from 8 to 10. At 10 o'clock, they're going to cut it off because that's when the mandatory drivers meeting is going to happen. And then they are going to hit the dirt at 11. So 8 to 10, that's how long you got to register. And then make sure the drivers meeting, you're there at 10 o'clock. It's always where it is, up on the pre-grid. And 6 to 9 Friday. Are you going Friday night?
No, I won't get off work in time to get down there, unfortunately.
6 to 9?
I know. We'll show up Saturday. We got to hit Don Pedro.
You got to go get some practice, man.
We got to hit Don Pedro Saturday morning for
well, yeah,
burritos.
Are you serious? Is it because you maybe can't swing the 30? Or no, seriously, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying.
I could probably make it down there if I wanted to, but it's just, I don't know. We kind of got a routine of the Saturday morning thing. And I don't know how I haven't been to an open practice on a Friday.
It's not like it's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you get some good time,
My other thought, though, too, is the track's brand new, so I don't know what you're going to get out of it showing up on a brand new track. Hopefully they'll all run it in for us Friday night.
Yeah, but here's the deal, though. It's not so much the surface, though, you want to. I mean, yeah, it is, but I'm talking about you want to drive the shape. You want to know where your entry points.
Because it's probably going to be different, right?
It is. Yep. I guarantee you, especially after last year, how it narrowed up there and two,
Yep.
So there's something to be said. And not only that, guy wants to go see if he can run up top and rim ride that thing.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah. Put your right rear and to see if you can skim it all the way around the wall. What?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Deal. I'll even pick it up for you on my way down if you want me to have it there for you. But So that's what's going on there. And then the 12th and the 19th of November are both Speedway days. Next weekend, the weekend after this one, is going to be a doozy too. It's a 2-dayer, and it's the first Cage Kart Challenge. That's going to be a 2-race series. That's going to be a big deal. But there's a lot of cars there. No big cars, just the cage karts. And so that's going to be an awesome deal there. Speed City helping out with that. And you've got also Schofield Karts and Parts. I mean, there's just
Seems like a lot of people have jumped on board. It's so awesome to see.
Man.
It's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
But hey, going back to the opening weekend, Terry, there's a couple things that I know we've talked about before, but guys, make sure you got your race receivers lined up, because those are mandatory. And then also, if you've done any body work to your carts or changed fairings or bumpers or anything, and you got your transponder, last night I'm like, oh man, I didn't know where my transponder was because I did some different things, and I found it, but just make sure your ducks are in a row so when you get there you're not. So scrambling.
You're not, because I'm going to tell you, there is nothing worse than losing your mind when you're loading up.
And
right?
It's easy to forget stuff.
It is. That's why you need a checklist. That's what we've been saying. Just make a simple checklist, and then you check it when you do it. And then if you've got, not everybody has help. I don't know how anybody goes racing anymore without help. I mean, it's almost, you almost can't do it, really.
Exactly.
But then you have your other guy follow up and double check it. But how does that go? Everything in its, or no. How does that go? Everything in its...
A place for everything and everything in its place.
There you go. There you go. Same with your pits, right? Once you get down there, use this one as your
routine,
your debut, set up, get stuff how you like it, and then from then on, it's you're on autopilot. But good stuff coming up from Salem. Jason Suchich is doing a whale of a job gathering stuff up. I mean, I'm sure he's got more tricks up his sleeve that we don't even know. So what a guy,
It's good to see.
I mean, they got Rust-Oleum paints, Hampton Inns, Mark Nelson Oil. I mean, they've got Falk EMT services. I mean, epic. Go ahead.
No, it's just awesome to see, a guy like Jason put in the time to this deal for all of us, because that's really what it's about, is getting all of us out there. And he's just doing a stand-up job with getting sponsors, taking care of the facility, dealing with all the day-to-day stuff. It's just awesome. It's good to see somebody in that position that obviously cares, about the sport as much as we do. So it's just hats off to him.
And really cares about the racer.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it could be a lot less than that, and I'm sure there are places that are a lot less than that. People don't want to even go through the effort to do it. So, it's bare bones. Hey, you got a track that you ought to be just thankful for that, right? Well, no. So, and the other thing I know is I don't see a whole lot of people beating the door down to want to, go out and do some of that stuff. So,
right.
I mean, it's just remember, it's a lot of that's volunteer, and he's doing his own time. Plus, he's getting cars ready for his kid.
Right.
So it's not like he doesn't have anything else to do.
Right. Hey, Matt Strebe just posted, too, about BK9. Don't forget, you guys, if you're going to be there for sure, send him your info so he can get you on the roster to get all that stuff dialed in. So when it gets here, everybody knows what's going on, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be there, Strebe. You don't need his info. You should probably have it. He's only the champ, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. But still, Matt Strebe doing a great job on that. Hopefully this year I'll get a well, I guess I should just download it. But, it's pretty hard when you got 30 pages, right? And you're trying to figure out, and the heat races are like, okay, let's throw all the numbers in the hat, pull out the numbers, and then you have to go decipher who's in what, right? So you go, and on the pole, it's the 86, and on the outside is the 17, is that 17J? And the 81K, and why do they put the numbers on there like that?
After the number?
Yeah.
So,
21Z.
So I've heard a lot of different things. I think originally back in the Midwest, it was your hometown's first letter of its name.
Oh,
is what you
interesting.
put on there. Now, I don't know. That could be a wives' tale, but that's what I've heard. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I mean, That, and they're never, I mean, the colors are cool, but it would be nice if you had some nice, great, big, huge, honking numbers that you could actually see, because sometimes, like the ones that look like a digit, like on a computer.
Sometimes the big ones, though, look like targets to some people, so you got to be careful.
You're right. I guess that doesn't matter big or small, right? If you're going to do it right or not at all. So, yeah. That is what's going on there. So I guess let's see where we're at. So boy, Lippy is late. Traffic must be horrid. Well, I'm going to do this one really quick because we're going to talk about it, and we can start it and then get into it. But
I think you just pulled out.
The deal is, actually, you know what? We're going to do this. So don't go anywhere, folks.
Hey, racers, Glenn Tower here from the Northwest Race Report. With the invention of the internet, our local go-kart shops have really taken a huge blow. One of the great go-kart shops out there is O'Hagan's Parts and Supplies. They offer a great selection of carts, parts, and service. We all want to win, and O'Hagan's wants to help. O'Hagan's Carts and Supplies, Lebanon, Oregon.
Hi, race fans. This is Renee Angel, and you're listening to the Northwest Race Report.
Well, it's time. Rules and racers. Are racers ruling the rules? Do racers rule racing rules is what I had. And so I'm listening to all this. I don't know if you see any of the chat on Facebook from the West Coast folks to did you see any of that on West Coast?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so here's the deal. This is what I don't get, all right? So I don't understand what the problem. First of all is there's a rule book, right? There's the rule book. In the rule book, it tells you pretty much what you can and cannot do. Are we on agreement on that? Perfect. Great. Okay, so it is up to the racer to make sure that you know what those rules are, right? It's not the track's issue. The track has to make them understandable, and then they also have to make the penalty understandable.
They
right?
have to enforce them.
Okay, so if you have that in place, how can there be any complaining about rules not being enforced or it being hard, or I'm not sure what to call it. The rule book states if racer X does problem Y, then penalty Y for that infraction is this. Did he do it? Yes. Well, then what are we asking for? That's the deal. I mean, you get penalized for that, and you penalize accordingly. And so I'm just trying to scratch my head and figure out, why is everybody griping about the rules, especially when it goes against them? You know what the rule was, and you know what happens when that rule is broken. I mean, it's not the track's fault that it came there and happened or whatever. I mean, you may not have meant to do it, but, I mean, still, that aside, for the sake of the other racers, I mean, you got to enforce it. So I don't get what all the hubbub is. Either you get the rule or you don't. And if you don't get it, ask. Right. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think you're right. I think the word interpretation comes up a lot. Racers like to use the word interpretation. Like, oh, well, that's not how I interpreted that rule. That's when the race director needs to say, well, this is how the track wants this rule to be. And that's how it is. There's, they need to be clear with what the rules are. If like exactly what you said, if somebody has a question and they think there's a gray area, you should find out.
Right,
before it's too late.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't have time to get into this too, but there's also spirit and intent, right?
Right.
But
exactly.
But my deal is, okay. So for example, you go and you run your race, and you come in and you scale, and you're a half a pound or a pound light. Okay. You probably more than likely, do you think that's a blatant attempt to cheat? No, it's not. Okay, so let's take the same scenario, and the guy comes in, he rolls across the scales, and he's 75 pounds light.
Right.
Do you think that's a blatant, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when it comes to using some logic, there it is. I mean, did he break the rule? Sure he did. And is it going to be the same penalty both ways? Sure it is. But one is a little bit different than the other. But that's what I'm saying. I don't get why everybody gets so mad when the rule doesn't go their way. I mean, what are you going to argue?
Right.
Right? It's something that it's just ridiculous. It's like getting excited. Oh, hey, Lip. Hey. you made it.
I would just like to say on that I like to announce during my driver's meeting that it's my job to enforce the rules, and it's your job to know the rules. That's the way I like to put it out there, because that's the way it should be. And yeah, I mean, for years not years, but for a while we've had a gray area, and now karting has grown to a spectacle that, you just can't have a gray area anymore. It needs to be very black and white. And that's what we're in the transition to, a very black and white area. And yeah, just like Mike said, if you think there's a gray area, you need to ask about it beforehand. Don't wait for it to be an issue and then try and push the issue. You need to find out right away on the gray areas, and
more than likely, if you got to ask, you probably know what the answer is.
Hey, Lippy,
sure.
Tell me if you've heard this one before. Well, I ran it like that last year. Right?
Well, that is it.
That's one of the popular ones.
What is it? That's the way I ran it last year. That's
true.
That's the way we always do it.
It was okay last week.
That's the way we always do it. We've never done it like that. I mean, those are all yeah. I mean, I get it, but so like on Facebook. So I see today. Okay, so and this was a legitimate question if you look at it. So everything was okay. It's going to be under UAS rules, the BK. But yet there was somewhere in that along in this area that somebody was told that it was going to be a run what you brung this year. Okay, well, you know what? Yes, there are no rules in UAS, but for those that are going to try to do, like, for example, like Diotti, he could either bring a 500 up or he could bring his 250. If they're going to run UAS rules, he's going to run his 250. If it's going to be a run what you brung, he's going to run a bigger motor, right? So to ask which one it is that out of line?
No, I don't think it's out of line at all. And I also think that, if you continue to have a rule structure that you don't enforce, it is a run what you brung.
Well, that's what I said, because I said there's a CC rule. Is there anybody going to check that? And if they're not, why is it in there? Because that was kind of a big deal.
I think KB brought up the fact that, well, what are we even scaling for then? If you're not going to enforce anything and you're not going to do anything, then...
Well, I mean, the weight rule's enforced.
Well, but it's CC to weight. So if you're not enforcing the CC rule, why would you enforce the weight rule?
Yeah, I guess this is true.
So that's, it's just, it's one of those things. If you want it to be a run what you brung, then call it that. If you don't want it to be it, then call it a UAS race and enforce the rules. It is something that has lacked in that class for the last few years, and that is structure, guidance, and, whoever is in charge to be in charge.
Well, I don't know. I read the thing, and it was like, well, read it. Pay attention. It's the same as it was last year and the last year. And what's wrong with just saying it's not a run what you brung? And make sure that it's clear. Because, then it's going to be, oh, jeez, man, I got all this nightmare in my life. Nobody, it's like.
I think a lot of this
just
is.
Just tell them it's not a run what you brung, or it's a UAS rule. You're out. The bed's made. There's no hard feelings. Everybody knows. But what you're going to get is somebody thinks it's a run what you brung, and they don't know, or they don't hear, and they show up, and then imagine what you're going to get. Now I got to run my big motor, Lippy. Damn you.
Well, and I've heard a lot of rumors about this. I think Wes has touched on it a few times. Back east, there's a few guys back there that are running, 600 cc's back there. No, that's not legal by UAS, but nobody's enforcing any of the rules, so everybody is doing it. So that's what the question is. If they're not going to enforce the rules and they're not going to do anything about it, then they're going to be they're going to be motors there that are bigger than the allowance. So you might as well just call it a run what you brung instead. So
can I just say on that note? I mean, I kind of feel two ways on that. I mean, number one is okay, so they're not checking it. Does that mean you have to show up and cheat and have a bigger? No. I mean, I'm just saying, why not show up? If you're good, beat everybody on the same plane. I mean, you don't prove anything by coming in and have something way bigger than everybody else and kicking their fanny and then go, oh yeah, okay, I kicked it. And I go, well, so what?
Are you from the same country we are? Because that is the norm around here. I mean, everybody wants to say get government out of our business, but if it wasn't for them being in our business, there wouldn't be any regulation at all, because people won't do the right thing unless there's somebody there to enforce the right thing. If you just say, these are the rules, please abide by them, then that's what you'll get. You'll get no abiding by any rules and them doing just what they want. So unless you enforce the rules, you're never going to get a rule structure. So, and you know, I know I can say this is the kettle calling, you know, me black or whatever you want to call it, because I've lacked that kind of response at my track. But it's I am now I am now living through the nightmare that I have, because I didn't and haven't enforced any rules or tech. Now I've got something that is way out of control, and it's going to probably take me a couple years to reel it back in from where it should be, because I relied on everybody to do the right thing, and they're not doing the right thing. They're not following the rules because I am not enforcing them. And that's basically what people are saying about that race. I love Salem. I love the race. Everything about it is great, but there does need to be some kind of rule structure that is followed, not just stated that these are the rules and please follow them. It's actually follow the rules, and somebody there to check the, you know, cross the T's and dot the I's to make it all happen.
Right, and it's not going to matter who you are.
No.
You know, if you're Deontay, you're Chase, you're Brady, it doesn't matter. If you're not right, you know, and it's not the track's fault. So if you get you know, don't go bad-mouthing the track or wherever else. It's not their deal. Make sure your stuff's legal beagle, and it's pretty good. Your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. Well, I talked to Brian Esquinia today. BLG is still pumping right along. They got some good stuff there. He's in a kind of going to be kind of doing maybe a little bit of a different branding thing. No cookie cutter stuff. It's all going to be unique and custom design stuff, I do believe. But more on that coming up. But our first guest tonight is he's one of the hot new young guns. This kid races everything. He races karts, he races the bandoleros. He's even got a late model at home, and he's not even 15 yet. And his name is DW3. His name is Daniel Watkins. Daniel, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey Terry, what's up?
Not much, man. We finally did it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. First of all, how old are you?
14.
Okay. And where's the late model right now?
In the garage.
Why do you laugh? Because you think you're going to get to drive it?
Me and my dad made a deal when I'm 16. We'll decide between a late model or a UAS cart.
Oh. Well, I don't think there's going to be any question which way that's going.
Yeah, Dad's buying a new UAS.
Well, he's already doing the UAS thing. Put you in it now, Daniel. Why you need to be 16? You're ready, aren't you?
I told him that I felt like I was ready, but he wants to wait a couple more years.
You want to know the real answer to that, Daniel? It's your mom. He'll never tell you that, but it is. I promise. Don't you put
my
that...
mom's happy that I'm happy doing what I love, and that's racing.
I know, but I'm just telling you, your mom said, don't you dare put that young man in that car. Okay, I'll tell him it's 16. So what are you going to do this? What are you going to do this year? I mean, are you going to run bandoleros? You going to run? I know you're going to be running the junior UAS down at the BK. But what's going on with Watkins Racing?
Well, we actually sold the bandolero to get a legend this year. I'm going to be running that.
Awesome. So now, are you going to run with the Columbia River Legends then?
I'm gonna be running at State Line.
Okay.
With a couple other people, and I think the Colombian Legends go there like once or twice.
Right. So you're going to be running mainly at State Line, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So
Yep.
let me ask you. So what is it? What is it about racing that just makes you can't sleep at night?
I don't know. I just love racing in general.
Really? There's no, I mean, do you like how it makes you feel? Do you like the sensation of speed? I mean, there's got to be something that drives
I like
you.
the speed.
Do you?
What about the level
Yeah.
of what about the level of competition out there? Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, I like the level of competition. I'm really happy that I get to race with the people I race with.
We're happy to race with you as well. So how long have you been piloting something with four wheels on it?
7 years.
How long?
7 years.
7 years? Nice. Very good. So where did you get your start? It was in go-karts then?
I started in go-karts. We didn't start in a kid car. We started in a Junior 1 clone.
Oh, very nice. So yeah, you stepped in it after the junior karts or after the kid karts then, and got right into the clone stuff, and that was over at Spokane?
Yeah.
Very good. And how much longer are you gonna stay with the karts, do you think? I know you got the late model, and have you been able to make any laps with it yet?
No, I haven't gotten any laps in the late model. And to answer the go-kart question, as long as I can, really. I love racing a go-kart.
Well, we enjoy watching you, that's for sure. You are definitely an up-and-comer, and it doesn't take you very long to learn anything. So I look at that as being a double-edged sword, because as soon as you figure out how to do it, you don't forget, and you progress very fast. So that's those are good things, and I'm sure that's what your dad's banking on, is you continuing to do that. So you're not a typical teenager. You have very much got the gear to go. So, and I appreciate that, and your dad does a great job with you, Daniel.
Yep, he does.
Hey, Daniel.
He really does.
Hey, Daniel, this is Mike Michelson. So, hey, when I was kind of in your shoes when I was a younger lad. I jumped in a stock car when I was 15 and a half. And if I could give you any advice, it would be don't be intimidated, because you're obviously going to be racing against older people. You know, just be who you are, do your thing, and you're going to find people that you race with that want to help you beyond anybody else, you know. Find those people and just work with them, you know, and let them show you what to do. You can obviously drive. So get the rest of your program going, you know, and it's probably hard for you because as racing as much as you do, I bet you have to sacrifice time with your friends and sports, because, you know, I was the same way, man. All you want to do is race. So find those people that want to help you and just throw yourself into it, and you'll be successful, man.
Good information.
Thank you.
So are you going to be at Salem this weekend?
Salem this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend.
I don't think so.
There's still time, you know. It's only Wednesday. So here's what I would do.
No.
Here's what I would do. I'd wait till Dad's all good and tired, right? And then I'd go in there and I'd bring him a cold beer and maybe his slippers, and I'd say, hey, Dad, what do you think me and you about going down to Salem so I can get some laps on the new track, you know? I mean, we don't have to go crazy, but, you know, let's just take a cruise, you and I, down there.
Yeah. we're not going to Salem this week.
Your dad's going to kill me the next time he sees me. You know that? Well, shoot, I was hoping you'd be down there, buddy. When are you going to make it down then? When do you think your first time will be?
For the BK, for sure, I'm going down there.
And you're not going to come before that?
Are we done? Should I go with Phoenix and then the BK?
Oh, sweet. Oh, that makes sense why you can't go. That's a good thing. So.
Yep, saving their money for the long haul.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Daniel, thanks for being on the show, buddy. We're going to hook up, and we're going to get you on our In the Groove show here, too, once we can get everything settled down, and we'll get you on that and really find out who Daniel Watkins is, okay?
We need to get him on after Phoenix, too, so we can hear how Phoenix went.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a big track. It'll be interesting to see how he does down there.
Sound good, man?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
go ahead.
I would actually like to thank Dustin Stevenson and Brian Esquinia and my family just for helping me with racing in general.
Right on, man. You're a stud, kid. You are a stud. You know, and we tell you and praise you how good of a racer you are, but you know what, man? You're also a great guy and a great human being. So I know I love you. So keep hanging in there, and I'll look forward to seeing you. You keep listening to the show, though. I appreciate your support, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, buddy. All right, well, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being on.
Yep. Thanks for having me on the show.
Okay, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that's pure innocence at its most right there as far as racing goes, and the kid just loves it. You know, and, you know, I mean, Dan Watkins, I'm just telling you, he's helped out the show, you know, when he doesn't have me, you know, he slides a little here and there, you know, and so he's a great guy. He does a great job with him. He's a well-mannered kid. He doesn't typically lose his mind.
Yeah, the whole family's good there, and and they've got great backing. Definitely some good people working in their corner. BLG and Dustin Stevens from the Carb Specialties over there. Just everybody involved in that whole program. Definitely Rusty King. All of them are all in people. They all want everybody to succeed around them, and they don't pick any favorites. So.
No, and his grandparents are awesome too. I mean, they come all the way out from Ohio every year and hang out. They're just that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? Double M. I mean,
absolutely, man. You got to get, if you can put those kind of people around you, you're set up to succeed.
Well, even if you don't succeed, at least you're having fun. Not right. Exactly. I mean that's what it's all about. But hey, so. Coming up, our second guest tonight, our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guest, is going to be a young man by the name of Hunter Stanley. So he's going to be coming up at about the 7:15 time frame. But after that, we're going to go to Double M. He's got some, he's kind of got some racing tips for you. You might think they're simple and crazy, whatever, but nonetheless, they're stuff that always gets put in the back of your mind, right, Mike?
Absolutely.
And like you said, it is very easy to do. So, with that, we are going to go, and we'll be right back.
Hey, racers, Glenn Tower here from the Northwest Race Report. You know, with the invention of the internet, our local go-kart shops have really taken a huge blow. One of the great go-kart shops out there is O'Hagan's Carts and Supplies. They offer a great selection of carts, parts, and service. We all want to win, and O'Hagan's wants to help. O'Hagan's Carts and Supplies, Lebanon, Oregon. Nice.
Oh, he just hit. So coming up, we got some tips for you. Double M is going to be talking to you about a few things like helmet care, glove care. How many people wash their gloves, do you think, Lip?
Wash their gloves?
Yes.
I don't think that I have washed my gloves.
Right. Well, there is a way, and Mike's going to tell you about it. Do you know how to mount a Zeus fastener?
Do I know how to mount a Zeus fastener with a tool?
Know how to measure for it and know where the spring goes and everything. We're going to tell you that too, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about rod ends, especially the ones that have the Teflon coating in there.
Oh yeah, I have had a few of those in the past.
Some simple stuff, sometimes it gets overlooked. And then I'm going to talk to you about racing and technology, and you're going to be blown away. All right, I mean, this is just it. With the Micron stuff, you're going to be blown away at what these guys ask for, as far as when they say, okay, ask your customer, if you're setting them up, to know these things. They need to know what these are. And so it's going to be awesome. Your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. Well, you may or may not know this guy, but I'm going to tell you what, all you're going to have to do is watch him roll once. He rolls on 4 wheels, he rolls on 2 wheels, he rolls big wheels, and he rolls little wheels. And you are going to be hearing a lot about this kid because he is, in a nutshell, he's good. He just gets it. His name is Hunter Stanley. Hunter, thanks for being on the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure. First of all, I want to say that there was never anything like I never wanted to. It's just there's a lot of people, a lot of guests, a lot of trying to find notes. So it had nothing to do with that. And I'm glad you called to kind of rattle my cage a little bit so we could get you on here.
All right.
But I just want you to know, there was nothing nothing personal there at all because, I mean, I've always enjoyed watching you roll. So it sounds like you had an awesome year at the Gold Cup.
Yes, I did. I had a first place in the Junior 1 Animal and a second place a first place in the Junior 1 LA206 and a second place in the Junior 1 Animal.
Wow, that is sweet. And then you're also, I understand, you're also piloting a 600 micro?
Yes, I am. I got a full sponsor ride from one of our friends, Durbin. He gave us some money. We went down and we bought a car, and it's been going really good so far. And we're just getting ready to go to another race soon.
God, I wish I had a friend like that. Right? That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a hell of a ride.
Oh, I'll bet it is. Well, so there you go. How old are you, Hunter?
I'm 13.
And he's in a micro. Come on, U.S., what's up with that? I'm just kidding. If you're ready, you're ready. That's what I say. I mean, I don't think it does anybody any good to leave a kid down there to mop up on everybody because not only does it produce bad habits, it's no fun for them. But so are you going to be running the full indoor series then down at Salem?
Probably. We're probably going to go down to Salem and run that. But I also got my hands full because I got invited to go down to Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend, and I got to ride a
Let me guess. You're going to be driving a cup car.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
or not
kidding.
A cup car.
I'm just kidding.
A micro midget.
Wow.
It's a Honda HPD.
Dude, that is going on.
Yeah, from the guys of USAC. So it's that's one of the more fun rides and interesting, I should say.
Well, how do you rate?
He's a good shoot.
That's right, man. It happens. So how's your social media? Are you keeping up on it pretty good?
Yeah, I am on Facebook of HSR Hunter Stanley Racing. That's where I keep all my updates and of all my racing and what I race. And I got my Facebook, Hunter Stanley, and my Instagram.
Awesome. And how about Twitter? Are you on that?
No, I'm not on Twitter.
You need to get a Twitter, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I do need to get a Twitter.
Yeah, you do, for sure. Because they've got the, what's their, the video they got?
I don't use it either. I don't know.
Well, you know what it is. It's not Facebook, but it's the other one that everybody used to, that's Twitter's deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is it?
I'm not sure.
How do you
Instagram's cool, right, for posting pictures and stuff.
It is, but for videos, you can use the one that stays up for 24 hours, and it's Periscope. Periscope is what it's called. But anyway, you need to get a Twitter account, buddy, because then you can just put out tweets and come and check me out. I'm here, boom, bang. So,
all right, I'll have to think about it.
How about crowdfunding? Have you ever thought of doing any of that?
Do what, sir?
Crowdfunding? It's kind of like you said
no, not really.
You said a monetary. Well, that's where your social media comes in, because you got to have huge numbers that follow you, and then you basically you're pitching that to your friends list, and it's working for a lot of people. So that might be something to look into to help get some sponsor dollars, because Hunter Stanley Racing is paying for their whole thing, right? You don't have any major sponsors, or do you?
We have Diamond CS, and we also have Lucas Oil with us right now.
Wow, 13! You believe in this?
Nice.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Wow. So you're going to be at Salem. Are you going to be at Salem this weekend, or are you going to be there for the Cage Cart Challenge?
No, not for the Cage Cart Challenge. We might be there for the, I think it's called the Clay Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Like that,
yeah,
we'll
later in November. Okay.
Clay Cup.
Yeah. And we're also going to be there for, not like any of the big races, but we'll just be there for some of the races.
Well, you got to come run the BK, man.
I'll have to talk to my dad. That's all up to him, but
yeah,
I really hope we can come down there and do that.
That would be cool. I'd love to see you. Love to watch it. Man, that's just exciting. Okay, so tell me about. Do you know Becca Clark?
Yes, I do.
What do you think? Is she a pretty good racer?
Yeah, she's a hell of a racer.
Really? What makes her so tough?
Yeah, she doesn't deal with any crap from any other people. She just races, goes into the race, wins, leaves. Doesn't deal with anything.
Boom, boom, boom. Love it. And that's how you handle your business too, right?
Yep. I got torn down almost every race, and I never cheated, and I always won.
That's right. Well, let me ask you something, Hunter. Why do you assume, or why do people assume that because you're fast, you're cheating?
I've always thought it's because they couldn't deal with losing most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell myself. They can't deal with losing. Well, so they try tearing other people down, too.
To build themselves up, right? Yeah, exactly, which is no good. So let me ask you this one. What do you think it really proves? Okay, let's just take your junior 2 animal, whatever. And let's just say you went in there and you hogged on it and you made it bigger and everything, and you went out and waxed them. What do you think? What do you think that proves? Does it prove?
To me, it proves to myself that I can beat them without cheating, or I can beat them without bumping or rubbing or taking out. I can prove to myself that I can race clean, and I can race without doing any of the stupid stuff.
Right. I mean, you're not really beating anybody, right? If you're cheating, I mean, you haven't beat anybody. You've just got bigger stuff.
Exactly.
Good for you, man. I'm glad to hear that. And you know who's really gonna like you is Stephen Chase, because he feels the same way. He believes that you do not have to touch people to get by them. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to hook you two guys up. He's gonna like you, man.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, man. So you're on your way tonight to go where? Is there a sprint car series or a micro sprint series that you're going to a meeting?
Yeah, right now we're at a pizza place, and we're deciding motor rules, suspension, shocks, whatever, chassis, like weight rules, just everything to keep it as fair as we can, because we're starting to get more 600s in the valley.
Last question. Where's your home track?
My home track is at OMC of Boise, Idaho.
Okay. And the other thing is, when you go in there, I want you to pretend you're Becca Clark, okay?
All right.
Don't take any crap. And and eat a couple slices of pizza for me, will you?
Yep, I will.
Cool deal, Hunter Stanley. Thanks for taking the time, bud. Go to your meeting, and we'll talk.
Thanks for having me.
We'll talk soon, man.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hunter Stanley, everybody. Nice kid. He seems on the ball, sharp.
Super
as a
sharp.
tack. You know, he's got his stuff together.
So much so for a 13-year-old, he is
13.
Going
I mean,
places.
I mean, see, but see, when you live it and you really want it, that's you. I think there's a maturity there that just is.
He may not have discovered girls yet, though.
Well,
there's still room for.
Yeah, I know that.
That's always our downfall.
Well, you know what? You know what? That's just like Santa Claus. You do not tell him there's no such thing as one. You just don't bring it up. So that's what you do. So coming up, Double M is going to have some tech tips for you. Go ahead, Double M.
We ready to roll? All right.
And go.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about a couple things here, and it may seem trivial to some people. When Terry handed me this and he said, hey, we're going to go over some of this stuff, I was looking at it. Racing helmet care and maintenance. And, you think about that stuff as, basically you don't think about it. I know there's times where you go to get your helmet after a long week and it's like, where's my helmet? It's probably hanging up in the trailer with mold and sweat. It's just a mess. So it's important to remember the things, especially when we're talking about helmets and gloves and fire suits and you are the only thing that can't be replaced. So remember that when you're buying safety equipment that, if you can't buy the best carburetor or this or that, you should spend your money on a helmet first so you have decent safety equipment, because in the end of the day, that's what's going to keep you around if something happens. It's very important.
Yeah, because other than that, you ain't going to care whether you got a good carburetor or
not. So a couple things, and honestly, a lot of it's just common sense. But remembering to use common sense is, I think, what it comes down to. After the weekend of racing, your helmet's going to be sweaty. It's going to be dusty. Clean it out. It says here, use some Woolite type stuff and wipe the inside of it out with that and water, and then let it dry. Don't clean it and then cram it in your helmet bag and go throw it in the trailer. That's not going to help you. I know a lot of people spend a lot of money on their helmets, so let's take care of them. Keep the outside clean. Don't spray it. I mean, brake clean for a racer is like the greatest invention ever made. Tell me we don't use brake clean for everything. We clean our hands with it. We clean, you name it, it has the answer.
That's like that commercial. It says, you're soaking in it. What? Palmolive. That's brake clean for
That's
racers.
What we do.
Yeah.
It's like it's the miracle liquid.
Yes, it is.
But if you got your GoPro and the adhesive comes off, don't spray it down with brake clean to get it off of there. Use something that's not going to damage the outside finish of your helmet. It's the most important piece of safety equipment that you have. Put some wax on it when you're done. I always wax my helmet at the end of the weekend just because, I spent a lot of money on it. I want to take care of it. I don't want to have to buy another one in 6 months, which I'm probably going to have to because it's not Snell 2010.
You mean you don't just chuck yours on the top of the toolbox or let it land on top and roll to the back of the trailer or whatever?
It's funny, Terry, because you see so many guys, when they get out of the go-kart or whatever, they literally throw it in the seat. And I'm like, man, they must have more money than I do because I can't treat my stuff like that. Or even worse than that, the guy just dumped you coming out of 4 and you're going to throw your helmet at him? Like, man, you're at a dirt track. Find a dirt clod or something, but don't throw your helmet. Let's just have some common sense. So,
right on.
Most helmet people say every 5 years you should swap that thing out. Whether it needs it or not. And I know you guys touched on this a couple weeks ago. You talked about helmets a little bit, but if you do get in a wreck and you smack your gourd on something, take a look at your helmet. Is it cracked? Is it scratched really bad? If it is, it could be an issue. Don't take a chance with it.
Yeah, if there's any doubt it's compromised, they say if you have any question as to whether or not it's compromised, replace it.
Right, absolutely.
What about your hands? I see a lot of guys, they don't even wear gloves.
Well,
but
I know, and obviously growing up in the stock car world, I always, thanks to my grandma who's passed on, but, I miss her dearly, but, man, she always made sure that I had the best safety equipment that you could buy. Nomax underwear, fire suit, the best gloves you could buy. It was just all there because it's you. If you're gone, like you said, whatever else you have, it doesn't matter. So gloves, it's like, yeah, your hands are all gross during the day. You're changing sprockets. You're changing oil. I mean, think about it. If you get a bunch of oil on your hands and then cram them in your race gloves,
it's like a wick.
Exactly. So
might as well pour brake clean on
it. Take care of your stuff. It's going to take care of you. Clean your gloves when you get done.
Will you say that again?
Take care of your stuff. That takes care of you.
Thank you.
It's important. And a lot of it, it's so easy to forget, right? It's just we're all so busy. We're worried about tire stagger and air pressure, and it's just, you got to remember that kind of stuff because it's important, but it's the one thing that gets thrown aside.
And the beauty is you can use that to say, honey, please, I want you at the racetrack. I mean, I need somebody to clean my helmet, my gloves, and it's perfect. So as long as I got a job.
It is. I mean, when we talked a little bit earlier about having a routine when you get to the track with your your tools are here, you got this hanging in the trailer. Just throw a helmet hook up in your trailer, and when you get done racing, go set your helmet, on this hook so you know where it's at, and it's not sitting in in your go-kart seat full of gravel getting scratched up.
Amen.
I know Williamson just posted a picture of a helmet. I mean, those things are expensive, and then you go get graphics put on them, and it's like that's something you have pride in. Take care of it. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
You look good, you roll good.
This is true,
right, Terry?
It is. I don't know. I mean,
well, it is.
I don't roll anymore, but yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. I mean, that's how it is. So what do you got next on the list? That's one tip. The second tip, or the two tips, because we got the gloves in there.
So we got the safety stuff out of the way.
Right. I think the gloves, you're supposed to I think you're supposed to wash your hands first and then stick them in the gloves and then wash. Right, wash the gloves like you would be washing your hands, and then remove them and let them just air dry.
And be careful that you don't get them soaking wet and then go hang them out in the sun because they're going to shrink down and they're not going to fit. Just be smart about it. But put them on, wash them in some mild detergent. Get them cleaned off. Don't be sticking your oily hands in them at a race. Go wash your hands. Let's just use some common sense because it's important.
Check it out. Doc is here. Doc's photos. Rob Lambert in the house.
Nice. Good to see you, Doc.
Good to see you, buddy.
Just for the record, Kevin Bridges, waxes his helmet often.
Mama Lawrence is in the house. You know Tim? Have you met Tim?
Yeah.
Mama Lawrence is here.
Cool.
Yay. She's an awesome lady. Love you, Mama Lawrence.
So anyway, Terry, moving on here.
Yep.
The next thing we wanted to talk about after care of your gloves is Zeus fasteners. When I bought that cart from Steve King, the body was had Zeus fasteners to hold it on, and I've never really, even in the stock car days, I never dealt with Zeus fasteners.
Really?
No. One time I seen a certain individual, I won't mention the name because him and I didn't get along too well, but he had the hood of his late model held on with Zeus fasteners. And there was a fire one time, and pretty much burnt the whole race car down because they couldn't get the hood off to get the fire out. So
right, they didn't have a quarter in their pocket.
Exactly. So I've never really been around them. But man, I tell you, for zipping a go-kart body off, if you can get Zeus fasteners on there,
piano hinge is a lifesaver in go-karts too.
It's awesome.
Yes, it is.
So you gave me this thing for how to measure for selecting Zeus fasteners. I wish we had, and maybe we can get this for people if they really need it.
Yeah, I can. I'll post it on the page tonight.
Because the measurement part here is like a golden. You need to determine the total thickness of your panels being joined, including your brackets and the space in between, if there is any, to make sure that you're getting the right spacing, because it can be
it'd be too tight and it won't latch down.
Yeah, and then you get frustrated and end up putting a rivet in it or a self-tapping screw. So, there's we'll get this.
Let me say, yeah.
Right? Self-tapping screws, duct tape, and zip ties. We can make anything work.
But
this is awesome, and it looks good. When you got 8 Zeus fasteners holding your whole body on, when you need to work on the thing or make some changes, dude, you're 3 minutes away from having the whole body off, and you're able to get to everything. It makes life so much easier. So this is really cool. Let's get this posted up. It has all the measurements and how to order your springs, and it just makes life really simple. So it's a really good deal.
They are quite handy. Rusty and I went to beginning of this summer, all of our bodies on the wedges were all Zeused on. And it's remarkable how quick it is, yes, and how durable it is. I didn't think they would be that good. We used them in drag racing, and I know they go 300 miles an hour and everything like that, but still, it just didn't seem like it would work. And I cartwheeled my go-kart down the backstretch over there in in Spokane, and nothing came loose. Not one single Zeus popped loose on that thing. So I'm a firm believer in it. I really didn't think they were going to work out as well as they did. And wow, what a great deal. It's quick on and off. There's a lot of great things out there. We bought a Zeus pin. So what that is once you mount the Zeus onto your Nerf bar, you can put this in there and put your body on it. It has a center punch on it, so once you get it where you want it, you just tap the side panel. It leaves a little indentation. Then you can drill it out after that. It gets the Zeus hole in the body panel just where you want it. There's cents on the dollar. It's such a great thing and makes things so fast and easy that any moron such as myself can do it with a little help from Rusty.
Make sure you have some extras in your toolbox.
This is a good point. We bought the style that you can't lose, and so far we haven't lost any. So they have the little spring on there that holds them in place, and those are very good. But yes, we do have a small bundle of spares in the toolbox. We just haven't needed to use any of them yet. So
Chizzy in the house. What up, Dave Chisholm?
Definitely some good stuff there.
Yeah, they're going off on there. Glad everybody's on the chat, having a good time. And lastly, I think there's rod ends. Now, we run smaller ones, but I think still they're, from your late model stuff that rod ends are a big deal.
It is. And, we would replace those quite often, but...
How do you know? How do you know if you need to replace them?
Well, my opinion is when in doubt, change it out, right? I mean, it's better safe than sorry. When you're talking about, trailing arms... your panhard bar,
upper control arms,
dude, everything that makes your car go around is pretty much hooked on with those things. So it's very important to take care of them. And in go-karts, it's our steering obviously is the most important thing that we have, and that's what we use the rod ends for. So
now, when you buy them, do they tell you that they're maintenance free?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure if you investigated and looked online. I bought mine from O'Hagan, and I grabbed them off the shelf and I bolted them on.
Right.
But reading some of this stuff, it's pretty cool. Some of the new technology that some of these companies are coming out with. QA1. I'm just going to read some of this stuff here real quick. One person was having a problem with the Teflon liner in his rod end coming out during a dirt race.
Yeah, getting pounded
out, and it's because they're not made to have dirt and sand and chunks of clay, ground in there, and they're getting pounded out. So QA1 has come up with a Endura series rod end, it's called, and it's pretty much made for dirt racing. That's the whole deal with it. It's actually Teflon and Kevlar liner.
Wow.
And they say that it's impervious to the rigors that we put them through. So.
Interesting.
It's important. I mean, I always clean mine. I look at them, I shake them, I rattle them. Tri-Flow is my best friend. I love how it smells for one thing.
Me too.
But
that's
dude, it's
awesome stuff.
All my stuff gets that. It's just something you got to take care of. It's your steering.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I know we used to just if there was if you could grab that and there was a lot of play in there, we do too. But I don't know about you, but. A lot of times I see it all the time is too with rod ends is people don't have them in time,
right?
And that can cause you that could be a mystery problem that will take you forever to find. That
well,
so could you tell them what being timed is?
Well, you need to make sure like when you're checking your toe. When I first got my cart, I looked at it and. Both sides were different, and I went to change the toe, and it's like, okay, I'm out of adjustment on this side, but I got 1.5 inches worse on this side. It's like it was driving me crazy. So, you got to get your spacing correct on both sides. So when you do want to change your toe, a half a turn over here and a half a turn over here, it makes sense to how you're adjusting. You're not trying to turn one side 3 turns and you can't turn the other. It just turns into a mess. So make sure that you have even space on both sides. So when you go to adjust your stuff, it's easy.
And when you take your tie rod, you know how you can rock them back and forth? If it doesn't move, they're more than likely out of time. So you can't have one folded over this way and the other one folded over that way. You got to make sure they're both even so you can take the thing and wiggle it.
You should be able to rotate it.
Back and forth, right.
Should be that 16th of an inch or whatever it is.
Whatever the ball moves.
On both sides. So.
Yep.
Again, right? Super simple stuff, but it
gets missed a ton.
It gets overlooked, and it makes a big difference.
Right.
Absolutely. This goes for our L brackets and our tri-set front ends also. They use a larger style of the same bushing on those, and I've seen several times with the newer people that come in that don't pay attention to the exact same thing that Terry was just talking about, the timing of that, and they'll have their upper clevises in a bind while they're adjusting their caster and camber. So that's something else that you need to really pay attention to keep your cart free and loose, is to make sure that they're in a good time and they've got room to flex in either direction. If they don't, then it's going to go into a bind, and nobody wants that.
Well, you said, keep an eye on the simple stuff that happens. There are some, and I know not all, not a lot of them, but, you remember Wayne Felch. His cart came all the way down. Axle out, spindles on. I mean, that thing was basically a bare frame. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's how Diotti does it too, right? But it comes. Wayne was doing it after every race. He was tearing that thing all the way down. Now, some might say, well, that's awesome, but then you take it apart and put it back together all the time. That increases the odds of you maybe missing something. I don't know. I mean, there could be a little bit of merit there, right? I mean, you get distracted. You know what? Geez, if I didn't take the thing apart. I mean,
back in the day when I had my street stock and I won championships, like that's what you did. Like you can't say, oh man, I might miss something. It's like, nope, that thing's coming apart. My wheel bearings are getting checked. My brakes are getting checked. I'm changing the oil. I'm adjusting the rockers. Dude, it's all done. That's the only way. You have to get in a routine, and that's what the fast guys do.
Mark Martin said, if it says 80 inches, you don't settle for 79 and 15 sixteenths.
You make it.
You make it 80, and whatever you got to do to make it 80, do it.
Yep.
And if you do that for everything, because you think about it, half a tenth there, a quarter tenth there, a tenth, pretty soon you're second and a half off the pace and you're scratching your head. You don't know why. So, just saying.
Yep, definitely. I know that Ronnie Cox and Joe Stackman do the same thing after every race. Their carts come down into a pile and they get put back together. Not only does that familiarize you with your cart and setup, but you get to check everything as it goes apart or comes apart and goes back together. I can remember a story that Stackman told me where in his early days he was working on his, and he did the same thing. The axle came out of it every race, and it was an older legend where they had the rear axle was held in place by cassettes that were round, and they had several different holes in them, and he didn't pay attention to the off and the on until about the third or fourth time, and after it was golden the first time, and then the second time it was a wreck, and the third time it was good, and the fourth time it was good, but the third time it was better, and he finally figured out that it was the rear cassettes, that he wasn't paying attention to the hole location that he was using when he was putting it back together. But after he learned that, then he was much better off and paid way better attention to the way things came apart and went back together. But yeah, definitely the fast teams and the people that are, on top of their setup and everything else are working on that stuff weekly. And it's not just to wipe the dirt off. They're literally tearing them apart and putting them back together each and every week.
This is Brian Rowdy Green, and you're listening to the Northwest Race Report.
Well, finally, we're going to talk a little bit about, and this is, I'm just saying that you look at back in the old days, Mike, and a lot of people, I don't know, the stands were full. Lots of people at the races. Friday nights at Portland, you probably remember. Dude,
crazy.
People were just nuts. But so you got to see a lot. But these days, there's a lot of technology that's going on, the microns and social media and all that stuff. I just wanted to bring up that, it should be fairly easy. And it's like anything, it's just time, but it should be fairly easy with the social media you got now. It's important that you have a Twitter. It's important. Some people might say, I don't know. Well, no. I mean, if you don't care, if you're not trying to go anywhere or do anything or move up, but the racers that really are, they say that one of the first things, like if you go to crowdfunding or any of that kind of stuff, they want to look at your social media to see if it's there. And they also say that you should be posting up any and everything that you're doing. Whether it's, hey, I'm scaling my car in the shop, here's some, if I'm this, if I'm that, I'm at this race, I'm at that race. You need to be putting it out there. Even on Twitter, that's where Twitter comes in handy because you can't get too wordy because it's only 140, right? Mm-hmm. So, but then you can follow up on your Facebook and on your Instagram and get people to follow you, and that's networking. That's free. That doesn't cost you really any money, and it's something that can be pretty powerful. I mean, and so really networking, said backwards, is what? Working the net, right? So you should put stuff out there. These little contests. I know Champion has them, and so I think Valvoline, has this deal where, I don't know, put in something for Valvoline, even if it is just car oil. Why I don't need car? Well, yeah, you do. Your tow rig needs it. Your wife, if you can get it, do it. That's just more exposure. So make sure your social media is up to date. And it can be a little frustrating because you don't know what to do. I'm not an expert on it, but like LinkedIn, I don't get that at all. And I think that's just because Facebook was the same way. You got in there and I'm like, what is this? I don't even get it. But let me see that list right there. But this last thing, when we get into technology, I wanted to talk about, they got all the microns and stuff, but they say there's technology products are grouped into 4 categories. Group 1 is products with instantaneous feedback, no memory, handheld air gauges, tack and temp gauges without memory, durometers, pyrometers, and single scales. Group 2 are products with instantaneous feedback, high limit memory, and selectable recorded points. Tack, temp gauges, tire pressure gauges, scales, front-end alignment gauges, and timers. Group 3 are products which record 1 or 2 data points for a period of time. So like the old Digitron, the DT41K, this it captured RPM and miles per hour for playback. And then the RLV Pit View, which displays recorded data on the Digitron instrument. Group 4 are products which record numerous data points for a period of time. Let's see here. Yeah, PI Research, it could record RPMs, mile an hour, head temperature, cylinder head temp, throttle position, tire temp, and a host of other digital or analog inputs depending on how many sensors the racer wanted to mount. Remember John Dillon?
Oh, yeah.
I think he won 13 or 14 out of the 15 tour races.
Spanked him.
I mean, you don't lap Ron Eaton in his heyday,
right.
And he mopped him. I mean, He was killing people. They took that away, and guess what? Yeah, kind of average Joe. I mean, still good, but that just shows you when you know what's going on, and nobody measures anything. I look at some of these guys, and you go, so how much wheels are? I don't know. Really? How do you know if you're sprung right? How do you know if you're traveling? 3 inches on asphalt, 4 inches on dirt. I think that used to be the rule. I mean, that's how you figured out how much spring you need in a car. But anyway, but more importantly than that, I wanted to just say to the go-kart shops and dealers, there still is some old school out there. All this electronic stuff, the internet, all this stuff, none of it takes away Racing 101, which is keep it simple, you got to do your homework. I mean, it's just no getting around, and you got to trust your gut. You know, how many times have you done that? You know, but it's like, do I want? I don't know. It's pretty good, but you could have been that half a change or change away from getting it, and you go, no, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
It's good enough.
Well, I think there's two schools of thought there. If you're personality A or personality B, if you think you can get another 10th, you're going to change it, right? Because you want to get that extra 10th. Now, if you change it and you lose 2 tenths, I was always willing to lose those 2 tenths if I could, make the change and gain the 10th.
And that makes sense. That's kind of like knowing time and score. I mean, if you're 19th or 20th out of 21, yeah, you're probably throw the sink at it. But but if you're right there battling, but more importantly though, guys and gals, I wanted to see. So it says to keep them coming back, give expert setup advice and give them a setup sheet and have the customer record the following. Okay? And so here's what they want to know. Motor type, drive sprocket size, rear sprocket size, the tire circumference in the front and in the rear, tire pressures, cold, tire pressures, hot, ambient air temperature, relative humidity, barometric pressure, air density, tire temps cold, tire temps hot. Note, measure tire temperatures at each edge and in the center. Track temperature, total width of the cart front, total width of the cart rear, front width from the spindle bolt to spindle bolt, rear width from the bearing cassette to bearing cassette, lap times from each outing, and details of the changes made before each outing.
Should we just go to their pit and set their cart up for them? I mean, really? Really? I mean,
that's the info they want you to get.
I don't mind helping somebody out, but why am I going to hand it to them? No, I'm just kidding. It's valuable information right there. Valuable.
Well, I've got an answer to. I know exactly what you're saying, but it says with this data collected, you have done several things. First, you have the carter hunting for data, which she may have to ask others in order to get it. So your carter will now observe other carters and collect some data. So that's a good thing.
You know what they don't give you though is the order in which you should give those things to them. I mean, obviously when you come off the track and they want their tire temperature hot, I mean, you can't go back to the pits and wait to give tire temperature. You need to, there's some of those things, when we were practicing, we would always roll off the track. And I actually did it at Albany when we went there this summer. It's like you pull off the exit, you stop, and you get out the pyrometer and you do your tires. That's the first thing you do.
Right.
Because you want to know right now what you're sitting at. So,
absolutely. And this was just a list. So I'm sure that's going to be. But my thought was, okay, so you're fairly new, right? I mean, you're fairly green. So you're probably not going to know this anyway. You're going to look at this and like, wow. But even if you did do this, even if you didn't know, you would think you would know,
right?
Just from doing that info, and it's hard to explain. But Bob Jeffrey told me this one time, because we were always worried about making sure our shocks were close to the ball joint like you should, right? And make taking into account for the angle change, and they're less effective on the shocks and all that stuff. So we made sure all that stuff was right because really we we didn't have a lot of money, so But he told me, God. He says, if I had to do that much work, I would just quit. But yet in the same circle, to go full circle, he built 2 brand new cars. He and Wayne Felch did, and they were these mini cars. I mean, it was getting scary. They were down like 1.25 inch roll bars on it. I mean, it was crazy, and they were running this little Buick V6 thing down there. But they struggled all year for a year, almost a full season, before they figured out that the roll center was like at 8.5 or 9 inches, and they couldn't figure out why it wouldn't want to turn. Well, guess what? That same thing that you said, geez, if I had to do that much work, I'd just quit. I'd work an extra Saturday and buy another shock. I wouldn't go change and all that. Well, that's why you struggled for almost an entire year because you didn't think to check or even know to check your front roll center. So do you think he checks it now? Absolutely he does. So, I mean, more than anything, I want everybody to know, because Lippy and I were always preaching, take notes, make sure you know, the more you know, it's a guess at best anyway. So the more educated the guess is, the better the guess can be, hopefully. But that's what I wanted you to know, is that we're not kidding. And just to let you know, the author of this little article was Bob Kiris, and he's the marketing manager for Sun Microsystems, and is deeply versed in the use of computer-based technologies to assist in racing. So he's been developing and been just a big part of all the data acquisition that is applied by pretty much every kart racing team. So he's not an idiot, but that's the kind of stuff you should know. It's nice to know that anyway, just to, if something's bent, you can measure it, you can check it. I mean...
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So I bought a Micron 5.
Right.
And it has GPS.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're on the track, it checks your lap times via GPS. Now, I asked when I bought it, will this work inside? And the salesman's like, well, of course it will. And I'm like, well, so I don't know if it will or not. Does anybody know, will a GPS work at Salem? Or am I going to have to go spend now the extra money to buy the lead to hook into it to run a beacon? Which is fine if I do.
I think you're going to have to run a beacon.
I don't see how it's
always
work
been
inside.
Right. Either that or you could race outside.
Let's do. Yeah, I can do that.
Race
laps
go around the
horse.
outside.
Go around the outside
Right.
of the, yeah.
And then subtract the circumference.
Correct. We'll give you a little head.
We got that.
What do they call that in a drag race? Is that a crutch or a,
Yeah,
or what,
sure.
what do they call that? Where they let the one guy go
handicap.
There we
Hey,
go.
one thing that Kevin Bridges did say on here, that if you're not going to take your go-kart apart every week and check everything, at least clean your go-kart.
Thank you.
Clean it well. That way, if you have an oil leak, if you have a fuel leak, if you have a bearing going out, you're going to be able to see that stuff.
And not only that, have some pride in your ride.
Exactly. Just
You
take
know,
the
don't be
time
showing
to-
up looking like, Beverly Hillbillies and whatever, and then wonder why you're not fast.
Right.
Says the guys that only have one cart to bring. Try bringing 6 of them, you guys. You clean all those and get them all ready. Come on,
Lip,
man.
I'm just going to say,
I'm still doing
Just put
tires.
them on the
for
car
Christ's sake.
trailer and go through the Katy car wash.
the more classes you run, the worse it is, because something's going to have to suffer. So you could scale down and concentrate on...
Nobody would like us if we did that. It's not good.
You know what? Well,
Says the guy wearing a Ryan Diotti sweatshirt. God.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Foul said, too. He said, I got to stop, whoop. I said, what do you mean you got to stop beating them? Why do you think they come to you? You think they'd come to you if they were kicking your butt? No, probably not. Well, you're right. I wouldn't.
It's, everybody wants to win. And
O'Hagan's wants to help.
Yeah, and they generally do.
Yeah, that's right.
I just have to say that everybody wants to win and be number one, but do you know what kind of pressure that holds behind that? Having to continue to do that each and every week, and then having a giant bullseye on your back, starting the weekend and finishing the weekend, and just having that everybody's taking pop shots at all weekend long. It's not that much fun, but
And it's not that easy.
and I keep doing
It's lonely at the top, and it's a lot of work at the top, and it doesn't get any easier.
it.
I mean,
No, sure doesn't.
everybody says, "Oh, that'd be awesome." They got all. Yeah, there is. You're seeing half. You don't see the other half of the labor of love.
That's exactly right.
It's a shame, because that's what a lot of the young kids see. They only see the good side. They don't see the.
The good thing when you're a kid, though, is you don't have anything to do.
Oh,
When you get home from school, dude, you're out in the shop and you got like 8 hours of nothing but working on race cars. You're in heaven.
What shop have you been? Oh, you mean they ride skateboards around the shop? And
Man,
really.
when I was a kid, I was in the shop. If I couldn't find anything to do, I was polishing lug nuts, and man, it was just you're living the dream.
you're in the 1%, because I'll tell you what,
But then you grow up and
my
get a
kid
job.
wouldn't be racing, and for sure. Well, you look at that and they come in, they go, "Well, what were you trying?" I don't know. My dad does it. Really? What's he doing?
That's how
Well, he'll handle it. Oh, really? So you probably tell him, hey, Johnny, go clean your room. You go clean it. You clean my go-kart. So go handle it.
Right.
So anyway.
That's how I ruined my phone last weekend, was glassing my freaking crashed go-kart back together. And yeah, came back in the house and covered with fiberglass debris and hopped in the shower, got out, grabbed my dirty clothes, threw them in the wash, phone and all.
Right? Yeah. So hard work. You remember Dave Marcus? I love his quote. I have done so much with so little for so long that I can now do anything with nothing.
It's awesome.
That's killer. You know, and fast, as my buddy Dave Goulet used to say, fast. He used to ask me when I'd be griping, is fast easy? No, I guess it isn't. Yeah, well, that's, why. You get, or why am I doing this? He never does that. You ever get that one? He never does that, and everything goes his way. And Dave answered me, and he says, that's because God knows he don't know no better. And you do. And I thought, holy cow, that's pretty crazy. So don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Make sure you show up this weekend legal at Salem. Beat people at their best, not because you've cheated. It just is no good. Ask Jonathan Brown about that. They tried a little deal down at the Nationals where they stuck lead on his body and thought they could get away with it, and it caught him. And he's not a cheater, but he just thought he didn't know the rule, but yet still, it's no fun. So keep that in mind, guys. The reputation you save may be your own.
That's right.
Woohoo!
So we got big weekend coming up at Salem. Gates open at 8 on Saturday. Practice 6 to 9. $30. I'm trying to get Michelson to go down there. He said, I don't usually go. He tried to give me the old track surface excuse, and I said, but it's not the surface. It's the shape you want to go. You want to find those breaking points, and stuff. So
I'll be there Friday finding my breaking points.
Sweet.
I'm just glad Lippy's not in my class then.
Just remember,
No.
if you don't go Friday, no whining.
I won't. I promise.
No complaining, and no excuses because you've been warned. No. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I get to see my new house. I got a new, Jason Suchich got me a new, the one they had at Albany on the main straightaway? That's the new announcer's booth.
He just said he was working on it tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, I need carpet in there, Jason. And double pane windows. How many people do you think are going to get to go in there?
I have no idea. Really?
Yeah, because they're not going to take care of my announcer's booth like they take care of the scoring tower. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Next week, we are going to talk, we're going to talk a little bit about thermal protection and whether or not you should be doing it, the coatings. Double M, I think, will be here again, and he'll have a topic for discussion. And, of course, Laughing with Lippy. He'll be back next week on time, I think, and he'll be able to get into his chassis segment because he had some tips and pointers for you. So we'll bring that to you next week. But good luck wherever you're racing, everybody. And I am your horsepower and performance broadcaster, Terry Bridges. I want to say thank you so much for the support. Looking forward to seeing everybody Saturday. Mike, are you you got anything left to...
No, man, I really appreciate you having me here. I hope everybody enjoys the show, and I'll see everybody Saturday. I'm just looking forward to getting back with the Racin family and having fun and doing what we do, man.
Right. And if you need any kind of auto service or repair, make sure to check out True Tech Automotive in Vancouver. They support the show, so we need to support them. In life and on the racetrack, Mike, if somebody's taking the low side, where you got to go?
Take it up high.
Take it up high, baby. We'll see you guys all Saturday. Love you.
Bye.
Hey race fans, this is Brandon Day. You're listening to the Northwest Race Report with Terry Bridges.